At Allegiant Stadium, 3 games, Aussie vibes, 1 epic ticket. Plug in your. Here we go. Here we go. What's happening? We ready for some high-energy sports talk with an edge to it? Sound off like you got a pair.
It's the JT the Brick Show. So we're going to have a positive energy. Guys that love to compete, play with passion, are going to have a chance at a place. Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, we are here coming off Martin Luther King Day. Hope you enjoyed the holiday. We are back on the radio, on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio, the Raiders mobile app, and live streaming on YouTube, which I love. You can see the show. You can feel the show. You can get in the chat. You can become a bricklayer or not, but you'll make some new internet friends who all most of them seem to be on the same page. Hope you had a good long weekend if you were able to do that. Wow, it's football on steroids, man. I mean, we got more football to talk about, and this is going to be a great week. As we count down to our broadcast from Radio Row in San Francisco, coming up here in a couple of weeks, we have the AFC Championship game, the NFC Championship game, and how that affects the NFL going forward. College football crowned the national champion last night in Miami. Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. They own the #1 college football story of all time. They have it. No one else does. It's remarkable that we are living through this time where Fernando Mendoza, Kurt Signetti, and this team becomes the greatest college football story ever. Not the greatest team talent-wise, not the most dominant team. They become the greatest story of all time. The movie Rocky was about Rocky Balboa, down and out, becomes a champion. Okay, we look at the history of sports. Hoosiers, little team from nowhere, rural Indiana, wins their state crown, an amazing story. This is much bigger than all of it. It's a movie. They're making it now. There's probably 4 Hollywood studios trying to cast the stars of this movie. And what I like about it the most is we're living in that time. We're living in a time now where when history hits us in sports, we should embrace it. Unless it's teams we don't like. Because you don't want to embrace teams you don't like if they're winning or becoming dynasties and doing that. But I don't think there's a lot of people that have a dog in the fight with Indiana. Most people like Indiana. They don't have a problem with it. It was a college basketball school for the majority of your life, and now they're a football school. And I find that fascinating. You have to consider Indiana now a football school. I was on the radio last night for the national championship game. What an honor. I mean, really, what an honor to be on the radio. I'll never forget that show last night for the rest of my life. It was just special to take calls from Bloomington, Indiana, from the parking lot of Miami Gardens where fans were coming out, and just kind of put my thumbprint in history on radio saying, I got a chance to do that. Why 99.8% of sports talk radio hosts didn't get to. So I really take that seriously. I like those little moments. And sometimes I'm on during a Monday night college basketball or football championship game, and it's no big deal. It's a championship game, which is big, but there's not a great storyline. This was one for the ages. And it's going to affect where we are in Las Vegas, we would assume in a big way. It's going to affect a lot of people going forward. It's going to change the way we think about winning and who could help the Raiders win. And that's the focus of the monologue, brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2. They were packed all throughout the Valley last night as fans were looking for great prices, a great happy hour, and a place to watch with their friends. PTs, proud partner of the show. I will title this monologue, The Immediate Future of the Las Vegas Raiders, in 3, 2, and 1. After last night's game, I have a different concept about the immediate future of the Las Vegas Raiders. This is just my opinion. It doesn't happen to be yours, but I hope I can help you with my opinions of framing what I think can happen going forward for the Raider organization. As you saw last night, as the game opened up. Mark Davis was on the sideline. John Spytek was on the sideline. There were other minority owners who were there, and people were there to be at this event, be at this massive event, because it's a national championship game, and the Raiders have the number one pick for now overall in the upcoming NFL draft. They were not there to party. They were not there to go to a club. They were not there to go yachting. The Raiders were there to work. Part of their work process was not only evaluating the body language, the attitude, all the little things about Fernando Mendoza before the game. Everything from how he comes out in warm-ups, how he works out, stretches. They wanted to see everything with him, and they were able to do that. But it was more about something else. Also, his family. His mom, who's suffering through an illness, seems like a beautiful woman. His dad, his family. They had eyeballs on everybody because this guy could be the future, most likely, of the Silver and Black. No position is more important than quarterback. The quarterback is the key. You cannot win without a great quarterback. And they were there along with everybody else who had a cell phone, camera phone, microphone to see what the Raiders were doing there and how interested they are. Taking a look at several players on both sides of the ball, man. There was about 10 players in that game, and 3 of them could become Raiders. You can get a Miami defender. You can get an Indiana offensive lineman. There were more players out there than just Fernando Mendoza. But overall, I think we learned a lot at Miami Gardens in that national championship game about the decisions that the Raiders are mulling and what they have to do going forward. So I want to begin with the touchdown run, which put a final bow on the career of the quarterback Mendoza, because if there are doubters out there and people who have questions in his toughness, they all went away last night.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take up and run. Mendoza wins his way first and go to the inside. Trophy.
It was absolutely incredible, the run. He explained it afterwards. I'll get into that a little bit later, what he saw. I mean, just the way he presents himself and talks to the media afterwards. And that was kind of a zone read, and the zone looked like it had a little run and pass in it. And Mendoza had to make up his mind quickly, and he put his body on the line for his teammates, as Vince Carter did in the dunk contest, as I tweeted out last night. Any debate on the toughness of Mendoza, it's over. The debate is over. There's no debate. And there's no, is he tough enough? It's over. He was already tough enough, but people didn't notice it. They watched the game, and it's tough enough. He is ready. He is physical. He's big. He's strong. He can make every throw. He can run. Is he a system quarterback in a really good system? So what? He's a great quarterback in a system that did something no other team's ever done. Don't talk yourself out of that one. If he was on a garbage team and he wasn't a system quarterback and he went 16-0, yeah, that would be a little bit better. That would be more unique, but that's not the case there. I saw a little bit last night in that game of Tom Brady, Andrew Luck, and Tim Tebow. Yes, Tim Tebow, who I think is one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time in regards to his grittiness, toughness, and leadership. Now, I know Tebow didn't become a great NFL player. He won a playoff game. He was a guy that everybody wanted to know what he was doing every day. And Tebow is an unbelievable human being. He's got a lot of Mendoza. Mendoza's got a lot of him. Faith-based, cares about everyone, religious, which I support all of that. So that's one of the things that I wanted to open up with on the future of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders are looking for certain types of people to be in the organization and on the field and in the locker room. No one has a doubt that Mendoza isn't perfect for that. He's got everything you like about the Raiders that you loved recently. Many of you like Derek Carr, his faith, his attitude, his positivity. You like Max Crosby. He's a dog. He's an animal. Mendoza's got that in him. You like everything about this kid because there's nothing not to like. So that's important because the Raiders need, as John Spytek and others have talked about, they need people in the organization who live for football. They live for football. And I thought over the last couple of years, most of the players in the locker room in the organization checked that box. No matter what coach they played for, they really cared about the Silver and Black, the majority of them, and wanted to be great Raiders. And Mendoza is able to do that. So when it comes to the quarterback, The quarterback is done. There's no other quarterbacks. There's no one's going to have a better day on a pro day. No one's going to have a better comp. There's nobody who exists. And throughout your entire life, there was 7 or 8 quarterbacks pretty much in every draft. Of course, the top 2 guys or the top 3 guys. And then some guy who was hanging out that no one talked about, like Tom Brady, who went in the 6th round, Joe Montana, who went in the 3rd round, other quarterbacks that went in the 4th or 5th round. And then a guy came along named Brock Purdy, who was the last pick overall. So there are not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft to talk about. There's a few. Dante Moore decided to go back to college, and Arch Manning's coming out next year. He missed his window to come out. So it's Mendoza and everybody else. The Raiders desperately need a quarterback. They desperately do, because Geno played so poorly. If Geno played well and the team didn't win, but he had a really good year, you can sit around and say, well, we got a quarterback. He's under contract. We got a lot of other holes, and you could go down there. We can't go down that road. We've tried these other quarterbacks. They all have good characteristics about them. They don't have what Mendoza has coming out of Indiana. They don't. Mendoza just has the it factor, and he's the guy for now. And I hope it works out. I hope it turns out to be a great player. We don't know that. We don't know. All we can do is evaluate what he did in college, all of it. All of it. Now we have all of it. There's no more college left. There's nothing left. All the tape is out there. All the criticism could be out there. Everything's there. There's nothing more to look at. What are you going to look at? Seriously, what are you going to look at? You're going to look at a Purdue game in week 3 or 4 where he threw off his back foot wrong? That tape doesn't exist. There's nothing to find with him that you don't either like or love, or you just want to be super critical. There's a lot of clowns running around the internet who want to get their numbers up, and they're saying they have a 4th round grade on them. They have a 3rd round grade on them. Well, what grade do I put on them in the world of media? I don't even have a grade for these people. Most of them, I don't even think they have a grade or a radio show or anything. They just have a phone. So the people that are there throwing shade on Mendoza are doing it for attention. Some people, that might come out in a month or 2 that you'll see some quarterback come on a podcast that's really big, and you'll be like, wow, I don't like this about Mendoza or that, and we'll all take it into account, and we'll play the sound here on the show, and we'll see what it has to say. But Mendoza showed us all in this final game. He didn't throw a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. He didn't have a great statistical game, but I wasn't looking for that. I told you that way before the game started. I was just hoping for him to come out of the game healthy and to not have a bad game. He didn't have an elite game. He had a very good game because he won, and that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. He's winning. He's a winner. And he cares about his teammates, and he loves his mom, which is really important to me. I love my mom, so I love that about him. So I'm good. I'm good with Mendoza. You know where I stand on Mendoza. And as I've said before, which could be taken out of context, I want to say it here again, there will be people that say, keep your eyes open for some ridiculous deal. If a ridiculous deal comes along that's so ridiculous that I think we all need to talk about it, we'll do that. As for now, I don't see that deal. I believe that Mendoza is the future quarterback in Las Vegas for the Raiders. I think he'll be really good. I think he'll need to be groomed properly. And that's where I go with the current future of the Raiders. We cross off the quarterback in the draft. We got the guy. Now we got to go to the coach. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I've been doing this a long time, and especially in this organization where I've had unique access to the coaches. The coach has not been buttoned up yet. In one of the most unique all-time coaching carousels ever. Clay, you would agree? Maybe all-time.
Absolute madness.
The biggest coaching carousel ever, and we haven't had a press conference yet. We don't have the guy. We don't have the guy. We don't. Now, I'm not saying they don't think they have the guy. They might. They might have the guy already, but there are rules who you can interview. Here's what we know so far. The Raiders have been able to interview pretty much everybody who's available for an interview. Anyone who's been available that could take the meeting, they've been able to do that, except for a couple of big names. John Harbaugh, pretty big. He was introduced earlier today as the head coach of the New York Giants. What a press conference. He just told all of the tri-state area of New York, all I care about is the team. There'll be no talk other than the team. I mean, he put down the gauntlet to the media there in New York. Come to me. Secondly, Sean McDermott's available. Didn't think that would happen. You want to talk about another guy who got screwed over royally? Screwed over by Buffalo. He had to drive to work every day for years and watch them pour concrete and build the stadium where he was going to have his car parked in the first underground lot with an office in there and coach there, and they took that dream away from him after everything he did for Buffalo. I did not think he would be available. And then you start looking at the list of coaches who are off the board. Robert Saleh now going to the Titans. Thank God. I didn't think Saleh was the choice here. Never did. Never did. I didn't think he was the choice. Kevin Stefanski kind of looked like a guy that would get a lot of attention because he's a quarterback guy and the Raiders are going to get a quarterback. But then the other names, Mike Tomlin, who would be a culture builder and an automatic winner in Las Vegas, doesn't seem to be interested in a trade. That would have to be a trade. I don't think the Raiders have enough assets to trade with anybody. I just keep all the picks and don't do that. And then you have other names out like Mike McCarthy, who, as we position this monologue, looks like he's the front runner for the Steelers. Brian Flores and John Gruden, lawsuits pending with the NFL. Oh, boy. Lawsuits pending with the NFL. You know how I feel. I think the world of John Gruden. And then you look at the rest of the guys, Jason Garrett, who's on NBC, and some of the other names. I'm looking around at David Shaw, who I've liked for years, been around the Raider organization a lot. We are running out of coaches, but not the Raiders. This is not directed at the Raiders. The league is running out of coaches. That concerns me. So my choice from the get-go, my top choice was Clint Kubiak. I don't know the guy. I don't know about his personality. I know about his dad. I knew that he grew up in a locker room. I have an idea of his schematics and play calling, and I think that Clint Kubiak is not perfect. I would never use that word because I've worked for Pete Carroll, Josh McDaniels, Antonio Pierce, John Gruden, Rich Bisaccia. None of those guys were perfect. Right? So I'm not going to say Clint Kubiak is perfect, and he's definitely the guy, but I like what he brings to the table, and that is the scheme, the understanding of the running game, the history, the drawers, the files of all the plays from his dad and Elway. There's never been a play that young man hasn't seen. I said the same thing about Eric Bieniemy for years and no one believed me. I said, bring Eric Bieniemy out here for a dinner and photocopy Andy Reid's playbook and just run the plays that Andy Reid runs. Everyone. Don't run any other play other than Andy Reid's play. You want to run it to the tight end? Run the Andy Reid play. You want to run a deep ball? Run the Andy Reid play. Clint Kubiak falls in that category for me. He's got the playbook. He's young. He's seen the history of the league. He's lived it. He's currently on a run with a really good team that likes to run it, throw it, quarterback, the whole thing. So Clint Kubiak makes a lot of sense to me. But oh boy, if he's not interested, we have a problem. He's the guy or one of the guys. And then we have to go to Davis Webb and Jesse Minter and Schuler. And those guys are going to be dropping fast. They're going to be dropping fast in the next couple of days, not weeks. So we got an issue. Is it go time or are you going to wait? Do you want to go and get the guy or do you want to wait? All of this is risky, risk reward. The stock market crashed today because of Greenland. I've never been to Greenland, but my 401k took a smack today because of Greenland. That was unexpected. Okay, things happen in life that are unexpected. So I don't know who the perfect fit is because we no longer have a perfect fit. If John Harbaugh came or Tomlin came or Sean McDermott comes, that is a high-end decision that is very safe. That's like investing your assets into a really good company with a big dividend. You can't go wrong with Sean McDermott at this point, everybody, unless you're in Raider Nation and you don't want to go to AFC championship games, let alone win 10 games to go to the playoffs. He's got a track record of doing that. We don't know who he's interested in, and we don't know who he wants to report to. We saw that with the Giants and Harbaugh. Some of these guys are going, no, I'm only reporting to him. I'm not reporting to anybody else. We've seen that in real time. So that's where I stand today. I have no inside information. I'm not podcasting to be clickbait. Well, I think it's going to be this. I guarantee this. JT just guaranteed on Raider Nation Radio it's going to be Clint Kubiak. No, I didn't. It could be Webb. It could be Kubiak. It could be Joe Brady. It could be whoever you think. And those guys, if they blow away Tom Brady and ownership and John Spytek, and they present them as the best choice, we'll all be happy for those guys. So that's number two, the coach. I am concerned. And then finally, the most important part of this monologue on the immediate future of the Las Vegas Raiders. If you go back to 2024, the New England Patriots, that was last season. We just finished the 2025 season. The last regular season before this, we saw New England at 4-13. The Jaguars were 4-13. Chicago Bears were 5-12. The Carolina Panthers were 5-12. And the San Francisco 49ers were 6-11. All of those teams made the playoffs. How dare you let anybody believe that the Las Vegas Raiders, if they have an epic offseason, can't do that? Can't do that. How dare you let anybody creep into your mind, into your world, your headspace, and drag you down telling you the word can't. We can't do it. It's impossible. Tom Brady is everything when it comes to possibility and a great story. He surrounds himself his whole life with winners. He doesn't take into the fact that all these other teams just one season ago went from a similar record as the Raiders, all went to the playoffs, and he believes in possibilities of doing great things. So I'm not here to predict games and wins and losses. Schedule hasn't come out yet. We know who the opponents are going to be. But I can prove to you, as we wrap up this monologue, that this is doable, especially with the quarterback who looks to be the right quarterback, $100+ million in free agency, some pretty good players on the team, some core players who are going to be here, and the ability to bring in more players. So I believe that today is a pivotal day in the history of the Las Vegas Raiders. On January 20th, 2026, we all need to understand what's at stake. The Raiders need to thread the needle, which is very difficult to do in politics, the economy, sports, and in life. Threading the needle means you need to be close to perfect. The Raiders need to be close to perfect. People, owners are giving a lot of money for people to make the right decision here, including new owners who put their money in and are expecting a return on their investment. It's time for this football team to make a decision on how big they're going to go and how bold they're going to be. And I think they got the right people in place to do it, but they have to do it. Excuses die. The record stands. The record of this team recently has not been good. Because of that, it secured the Las Vegas Raiders the number 1 pick overall in the upcoming draft in April. They need to dominate that draft. Dominate it. They got to secure the first pick, not overthink it, and nail it. And then they got to go from there and be great, not good. Last year, they were not great. You can debate if they were good or bad because a lot of guys didn't play. You can debate that. That's a fair debate that I'd like to have with you. But this one, I don't care about last year's draft. It's over. There's going to be a new head coach here. This draft has got to be an A+. You already got an A. All the media critics are going to give you an A, maybe an A- for Mendoza, and they're not even going to look at the 4th, 5th round pick. The Raiders have entered the room, and they have the pieces to do something special. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I love it. And I love these topics here in January. That's the monologue brought to you by Modelo. As I tweeted out, pretty good fit for Modelo for us in this show on Mendoza Mondays and everything that we have brewing here. So we're going to spend most of this show talking about what the Raiders do in the immediate future. The draft's in April. I'm not doing the draft every day. I'm not going to be here every day. Wink, wink. We're not doing it. We're not diving into the pool. The cover's still on the pool. There's a cover. You can't dive in the pool. We're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it more than we normally do. We're all about the coach now. And I am concerned because you got to get a good coach here. Mark in the Bay Area. Start us off, Mark. What's happening?
Hey, JT, thanks for taking my call. Just watching that game last night. I mean, I've been on the Mendoza train for a while, like a lot of Raider fans, and I don't really care about the haters. There's always going to be haters out there. But as far as he goes, I mean, I saw nothing but positivity on X from a lot of the media out there. And, it's well-deserved. I mean, what the kid showed, yeah, he didn't throw for 400 yards, but he was taking what the defense would give him, and not to mention he had Bane rushing down his throat. That defense of Miami is no joke. I mean, they've got two supreme edge rushers, and he didn't have a lot of time. But you know what? He didn't try to force anything, just played within the offense. And this kid's just a winner. And what I was thinking, JC, when he made that iconic run, he bounced off two defenders diving in. That's going to last for Indiana forever. I mean, I thought of the late, great Al Davis and what Al Davis used to say, the will to win. And boy, if that doesn't epitomize the will to win, I mean, this kid has just got some kids have it, and he's just got it. I mean, he can make all the throws, the back shoulder throw. Super, super excited about Mendoza. As far as the coaching search goes, I don't see them making a decision anytime soon. They're in Florida right now, or in Miami last night. You would think with a coach, they're going to come in and check out the facilities, and I think it'll be done in Vegas. But I think, like you, I think it's got to be Kubiak, or perhaps I was listening to Clay's show, and the more I'm hearing about this kid, Davis Webb, and they call him the Dragon. Is that right, Clay? Pretty impressed with him as well. Matter of fact, they had a guest on this morning, Jason Fitz, who was saying he's talked to several players that rave about this young kid. So, anyways, those are some of my thoughts. And
thank you,
Raiders.
All right, thanks for listening to the channel. And Clay Baker in the morning. And that's what I do when I go in. What I say first thing when I saw you today. What'd you talk about today on the show?
That's right. Yeah, the nice little synopsis. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Appreciate that, Mark.
Perfect. So that's the monologue. Jump on in. If Sam Monson joins us, we're going to also go to our good guy, Jeff Sherman at the Westgate on Jared Stidham's playing in the championship game. How does that affect the line? Our gambling hit with Jeff Sherman in about 20 minutes. Sam Monson next with the national interview about where the NFL stands heading into championship week. We're busy today. We're happy to have you on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Not a bad monologue, man, huh? I hope some of your other podcasters could do that for 25 minutes without taking a breath. I'm sure a few of them can. We just ripped it. That's good. You got my take on everything. We went coach, quarterback draft, and how to turn it around quickly. So that's it.
Right.
Days at 7 a.m.
Wood Gaming is the official.
We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We ask everybody to please subscribe. The one thing we ask you to do every day, that's only one thing, is hit like and subscribe, especially for the new people. Thank you for the monologue compliment. I'm proud of my monologue because I know I do it better than anybody. And there's a lot of people in the business that know that too. And I got to remind you that because no one's going to remind you about my monologues unless you do. So let them know. Appreciate you.
See a ride share lines and ride it.
Yeah, the risk with Kubiak is real and simple if he doesn't want the job. And I don't know if he wants the job or not. Nobody knows if he wants the job. He works for the Seahawks. He's busy. I'm sure if the Raiders pay handsomely for head coaches, as good as anybody, they're going to offer him a full deal, which will be massive money to be a head coach in Las Vegas. What happens if he says, I'm going to sit it out for a year, I'll come back next year? Then we lose him. But if we lose him, that might not be a bad thing if the other candidate's better. But I don't know the candidates well. Only Brady and Spytek do. They're conducting the search. It's their decision. It's their decision. Or as Big D says, what happens if he chooses another team? Yeah, I got to find out. I think you could have a second interview over Zoom, I think, but most second interviews this late are most of them are in person.
On Saturday, January the 24th.
Yeah, I'm happy Robert Saleh isn't the coach, and I don't have anything against him personally, but no. Oh, Junebug. Oh, my God. Junebug, one of the iconic original Black Hole members. Man, God, I miss you, dude. Freaking, you're unbelievable, man. Hope the family, hope everyone's good. Say hi to everyone if you're keeping in touch with them.
Bingo card for almost $7. Robert hit big and so can you with Gambler's Bonus. It's why you play the game.
From birthdays to business meetings, or just because, Craze makes every moment delicious. Artful charcuterie boards made fresh. Visit crazecrave.com.
All right, I'm going to come back with a Seattle touchdown. Kenneth Walker.
And then just dial Monson. Thanks.
Taverns just changed the game. Introducing all new progressive jackpots linked across 65 PT's Taverns locations. We're talking both dollar and quarter progressives that hit on royal flushes and 4 aces with a kicker. Plus Keno progressives that hit on 7 and 9 spots. And here's the best part. Our 10-spot Keno progressive pays up to $200,000. All progressives exclusively available at PT's Taverns. Your poker links may vary between taverns. Check with your tavern bar host for details.
Did you have an unexpected trip to urgent care or the emergency room? Dollar Loan Center has you covered.
That Signetti is everywhere. Wow.
Accidents happen, and they usually come at inopportune times. Medical care is not cheap, and Don'tBeBroke.com is here to help. At Dollar Loan Center, you can get a signature loan up to $5,000, and with our instant funding, you get the money immediately after approval. You don't need a checking account. It's free to apply, and new customers' first week of interest is on us. Stop by one of our 60 locations. Apply over the phone with a real person or online at don'tbebroke.com from the comfort of your smartphone. Dollar Loan Center has you covered.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Subject to approval. Limitations may apply. See website for details.
Welcome back to the JT the Frick Show, brought to you by the De Casta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Sam under center is going to hand the ball off. Coming near side Walker. 10, 5, 10, touchdown. From 15 out, his second TD tonight. 10, Walker the third. And I don't want to call it a blowout, but right now, friends, 33-6. The Seahawks on top, and there's still 2:23 to play in the third.
Seahawks Radio, and they'll host the Rams coming up. Always a pleasure to talk to Sam Monson from the 33rd team. We'll see him up at Radio Row at the Super Bowl as always. Sam, let's begin with your big picture on Indiana, their win, plus Mendoza and the personnel that you saw out on the field for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was Mendoza's best game, but even in that performance, he came up big in a couple of key moments late in the game. Miami looked like they were just going to kind of roll over and get beaten, but then they came back and really made it a game, and every time they did, Mendoza answered with a big play of his own. And even in that performance, I think showed some of the kind of clutch play and accuracy that's been his hallmark this season.
Did he really need to check that box after being 15-0 at that time, playing better after winning the Heisman, that he really needed a signature moment like that rushing touchdown?
No, not really. But, people do want to see the best play on the biggest stage. And, if he had had a terrible game and hadn't played well and that had lost or whatever, there would be people that held it against him. So, it's not like he needed to answer that or to tick that box, but I think it's only a good thing that he did.
When you prepared for the draft out in April, were you impressed? I mean, Bain coming off the edge for Miami is legit. Looks like a real young Khalil Mack, and Khalil Mack went to Buffalo. He didn't play at the U, but the Indiana offensive line, man, they look big and strong, and even Miami was taking advantage of them. It seemed like the trenches from both sides. There's some NFL standout grades coming in the draft for both teams.
Yeah, there were some good players on display in that game. Ruben Bain, as you said, in particular, is an absolute monster. I mean, I think that guy's a top 5 pick in this draft, and who knows? We'll see what he does in terms of measurements, but the big thing about him has been arm length, and I know some people are not necessarily believing that measurement that came out that was done earlier in the spring. If he measures with sort of conventional numbers at the combine, I think he'll be an absolute dominant force, a blue chip player in this draft.
Sam Monson is our guest. I really believe, and I'll say this, no matter what happens, where he ends up, I think Sean McDermott got screwed. Imagine telling this guy, with all those division titles and wins and AFC championship game appearances, he's going to work every day for 3 years watching them pour concrete and build the stadium that they're going to open up, and Buffalo's waited 50 years for that. And they take that dream away from him. He doesn't even get a chance to open up the stadium with Josh Allen. Do you believe that move had to be made and the shockwaves that it sends around the league?
No, I don't think it had to be made. I don't think anybody was coming out of that game thinking the problem here is a coaching issue. I think definitely the way their season finished, which is to say basically the same as every other season has finished for the last 5-6 years or whatever, I think it's likely that something was going to change coming off the back of that. I think there's only so long you can stay the same course and expect different results and keep getting the same ones, even if, it's a different game each time. It's only ever a play or two away. They are all different games, and maybe the answer is to just keep knocking on the door and expecting at some point you're going to go through it. But the fact that they lost again, I don't think it was a shock that some significant change was going to be made. The fact that McDermott was fired and then Brandon being the GM got promoted, I think was a big surprise.
And we saw the John Harbaugh press conference, and I think that's fascinating what went on there. Fascinating, because John Harbaugh wasn't going to answer to Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen's got 6 games left or a year before I think they're going to move him out unless it's a perfect fit, and maybe that happens for both of them. But these veteran coaches that are still around, Sam, including Mike McCarthy and the names that are still there, including McDermott, do you believe that it comes to the reporting structure of the franchise where a lot of these guys don't want to report to young, unproven GMs? They want to have more control and talk directly to ownership.
Well, yeah, or, simply because if and when things aren't going well and it's not necessarily your fault, you're the fall guy. If you report into the GM, you're always going to get cast aside before anything significant happens to the GM. You're going to get used as the sacrificial lamb, whether or not it's your fault. So, yeah, I think absolutely a huge amount of these, particularly if you've got any kind of inbuilt, historical cachet or weight, this is the time where you have leverage. This is the time where you can get something different and say, look, I'm not reporting into somebody who's then going to throw me under the bus when things go wrong.
Sam Monson's our guest. Check out his award-winning podcast, all the great work he does on the 33rd team. So I got a chance to see Jarrett Stidham close up here in Vegas and the way he prepared and his size and his athletic ability. He's a good player, and he's a good backup, the highest paid backup in the league for a reason. But what's fascinating, and I'm sure you and Steve talked about this when that deal went down, Sean Payton took him away from Vegas. Vegas didn't want to lose him in a backup role, and Sean Payton with running out Russell Wilson and going to ownership that we got to eat $200 million in cap hit space. I want that guy just in case. Now Sean Payton actually needs him in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, backup quarterback is a valuable thing. Sean Payton, I'm sure, would have just hoped that he needed him for, week 12 and week 13 randomly in the regular season. Needing him for the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl is a different ask. And, I think you're right. Jarrett Stidham has got some talent. He's got physical tools. He's got the ability. He's played well in preseasons. He could have solid performances. It just feels, very unlikely that he's going to be able to have what would need to be, maybe the 2 best games of his career in the AFC Championship and then the Super Bowl for them to win a Super Bowl. It's such a difficult ask. And we've already seen it happen once with Nick Foles. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, one of the most improbable, unlikely things that's ever happened in the NFL. So lightning striking twice feels incredibly unlikely.
Sam Monson, as we wrap it up. So what's your opinion all year long about New England's schedule, their strength of schedule, who they beat, when they beat them, man? It's been I think we could both admit it's been a nice path for them with several breaks that they took advantage of. You got to play the teams on your schedule. The Niners did the same thing, but I think Patriot fans are feeling pretty good about this matchup against the backup quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. It's been an incredibly charmed existence for the Patriots. Obviously, their regular season schedule was one of the easiest schedules in history, and their playoff schedule is shaping out similarly in terms of, Justin Herbert with no offensive line at all, CJ Stroud playing like one of the worst games anybody's ever seen. Things are breaking their way, but that doesn't mean they're not a good team. Like, you can only beat what's in front of you, and obviously that's helping, but when they are challenged, they are rising to the task. They are, I think, capable of beating good teams. They're just not being tested by complete all-around football teams because they're running up against teams with, massive weaknesses or flaws or key players playing terribly.
Sam, give us a quick analysis, if you can, of what's going to happen with the Rams going up there. They're so familiar with each other. I mean, the playbook that Sean McVay has against every individual team, something, but the way he prepares against the 49ers, I'm going to leave the Cardinals out and the Seahawks. He knows exactly what he's doing coming into this game, but you still got to do it on the road in a hostile environment. Are you leaning towards the Rams in this game with their experience of Stafford over Darnold, or does this Seattle look too good, too tough on both sides of the ball?
I think Seattle is the better team, and I lean on them as favorites. But over two games, I think the aggregate score is different by a point. These are two razor-thin match teams. I expect it to be a close game. I think if Seattle is able to avoid turning the ball over, or at least turning it over a lot, I think they win the game. But, the Rams have had Sam Darnold's number in the past. Even in the better of the two games he played against them this season, they caught him out a couple of times and tricked him and forced him into a couple of bad mistakes. So it's definitely, the Rams are definitely capable of going up there and getting the win. I just think the Seahawks are a better team right now.
Sam, last one. I'm looking forward to downloading, and I get it here on my phone, the Check the Mic podcast. You guys were talking about the divisional round and C.J. Stroud. Should he have been benched or not? Tease ahead on what this podcast is about, because I was saying that in real time when C.J. Stroud looked like he forgot how to play football.
He really did. I mean, that's one of the worst performances, any quarterback has had in the playoffs. An absolute disaster from him. And really, it was sort of the opposite of the Georgia game that he had in college that kind of answered all of the questions about, can he play under pressure? Can he, get things done when things aren't going well? And he was perfect in that game. This kind of undid all of that good work, and his career at this point is heading backwards. He had an amazing start as a rookie, and he's just taking steps in the wrong direction at this point, right as they need to start making decisions about fifth-year option and extension and big money second contract. I think the Texans, have got some interesting decisions to make on Stroud now.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for moving your schedule around for us. We greatly appreciate it. Talk to you next week.
Anytime. Take it easy.
You got it, Sam Monson. What a great guest he's been, a tremendous asset to the show. I'll go download his podcast at Check the Mic. Everybody's got a podcast now. I got a few. Some do better than others. They only work. I'm doing one with Rod Woodson. I just want to say, Rod Woodson. It only works if you subscribe and look at it. Like, everybody's doing these podcasts, Clay. You have a podcast, you do a show, and then afterwards goes up. It don't matter unless anybody clicks on it. It just dies. It goes, everybody's falling apart. I got a podcast. Everybody has a podcast. But the reason why the Real Housewives had one of the biggest ones, because all these other housewives in America subscribe and share. So, Clay, as always, click subscribe and share, and then these podcasts might work.
Yeah, everyone appreciates the like and a reply, but subscribe means almost ownership. So please subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe to what we're doing. When we come back, we're going to talk to a really good guest, Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate. He's going to tell you the lines on how to gamble. I hung out with some guy this weekend, went to a sports book and watched the game. My buddy who hosted me said he had his worst year ever in sports gambling. I said, what? He goes, yeah, it was brutal. And he's sharp. We're going to tell you how to bet smarter. Coming up next, brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino.
It's official like a referee's whistle. Denny's is now open at Silver Spirits Hotel and Casino.
All right. I mean, this is a good, I just asked nicely, just like the podcast, laying the wood. Jason, put that in the chat. Lay in the wood. We're going to do that on Thursday this week with Hall of Famer Rod Woodson. If you're a football fan, if you like this show, you're going to like that even better because I'm not Rod Woodson. Laying the wood, wherever you download your podcast. Clay, have we figured out this thing that everyone's saying about Spotify's not loading? Spotify, is that fixed or no?
No.
Why is that not fixed? But that's something.
I'm working on it.
But that's not our thing. It's probably on Spotify or something, right? It's not on us.
They're taking it as a priority. They're trying to do that.
People are asking. Yeah. Lay in the wood. So if everybody just clicks on this Lay in the Wood right now, this link, and then just hit subscribe, we'll get another, 100 subscribers. That means a lot to us. 1 second. On. Yeah, I went to the Red Rock. We have a lot of casinos. So Clay was at Durango. I went to Red Rock on Sunday and sat in a sports book. 2 takeaways from sitting in a sports book. And I don't gamble. I don't spend a penny on gambling. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I couldn't believe how many degenerate horse betting gamblers were there during a football game. They got 3 giant screens: football, and horse racing. And everybody's just running. Even the guy I was with, who was betting football, was bored during timeout, so he just bet a horse race.
That's the way to do it. Because you don't have to sweat a 3-hour game. Just pings over in 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, my guys were big horse players.
Yeah, were they?
Oh, yeah.
And you were at Durango?
Yeah, Durango.
Did they have the horses up there?
Screen.
On one screen?
Small ones.
Yeah. So then, because I know about comps in casinos, so we're in the casino, and we're getting all these drink tickets because my buddy's a pretty good gambler. So he got a bucket of Coors Light. I got a bucket of Modelo. And they had $3 shots of tequila. And I'm not a day drinker of tequila. If I'm out at a restaurant and someone orders a shot of tequila after dinner, or, you're out at some event with your buddies in the backyard in the pool. But a couple of tequila shots on Sunday that were very warming and very good.
Explain to JT how it goes.
Easier.
We're time for a couple.
Hey, put some gambling questions in the chat if you have a few gambling questions.
Minutes. Get your cash in person. For any convenient locations. Apply online at Tony Broke.
Got Jeff Sherman coming up.
Yeah, sure. He's ready.
Members.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Local 872, your workforce solution.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take off and run. Mendoza wins his way. First and goal. Diving from the end zone. Touchdown. That's why he won the Heisman Trophy.
ESPN on the call. National championship game last night. Let's shoot out to the Westgate with the VP of Risk Management. Jeff Sherman joins us. So, Jeff, let me know about the game. Mendoza, the liability on the game, the sharp money, the public money. How did that play out?
Well, public was all over Indiana. It was 7.5. We really needed Miami in the game, and our best scenario was like a Super Bowl, where if it fell between 1 and 7, that was best for the books because we had a lot of Miami money line money and Indiana minus 7.5 money. So it was a good result where it fell. It ended up going over the total really late with that second half third. So if it would have stayed under, it would have been a little bit better for us. So the public won on the over.
Interesting. Carson Beck had the ball. He didn't have to throw that interception. He had time left. Even though the timeouts were gone there, he really forced the ball late. and they had to play clearly for a touchdown, not a field goal there. But that last minute, under a minute, very interesting for all your players who are in the book, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, what a great second half after you didn't know how much Miami would do in the first half, not getting any points. So it really turned into a good game. And even Mendoza with what he did there, hopefully he ends up on the Raiders in a couple months.
All right, let's move on to the Patriots and the Broncos. But with Jared Stidham starting, how that affected the line, and how did you play it when you got the news as Nix is on the field winning the game, doing an interview, and then a matter of minutes later, Sean Payton's making that announcement, and how quickly did you have to adjust?
Yeah, that was crazy. Just like you said, he was on the field doing the interview, so it came a total shock to us. And we had Denver rated about 2.5 against New England at home. And then obviously with all this situation, we opened New England -4.5. Public started betting it up to 5.5, so the market reached New England 5.5. But then we took some sharp money, +5.5 and +5, and we're back to the opener of 4.5.
4.5. Patriots a road favorite of 4.5 in the AFC Championship game, and coming off 4 wins last year. That is just absolutely shocking to me. The weather play and the total on this game, please, considering Jared Stidham. I don't think he'd go up and down the field, but I saw him play and put up numbers against the 49ers the last time he put up some really good tape.
Yeah, we made an adjustment and opened at a low total of 40.5, but we got sharp play on the over, so it's up to 41.5 on market.
41.5 on the total. Let's move to the Rams and Seahawks. Fascinating here, where you originally opened the line with the Seahawks. They lose Charbonnet, one of the two-headed monsters at running back, and the Rams getting out of Chicago with the dramatic win, and now the Rams are on the road.
Yeah, we opened Seattle -2.5 with a total of 47.5. Have only had some movement on the price on 2.5, so we had some sharp play +2.5 even, but it's been going back and forth. Just the price on 2.5, so 2.5 looks like a really good number. No effect with Charbonnet; he hasn't moved the line at all. But this is going to be a very well wagered game, more so than the first game. We've seen this game twice already this year, and they've been close. So it should be a great afternoon game.
Incredible to see. So obviously the winning odds to win the Super Bowl from when you go back to August before the regular season started with Seahawks, Rams, Broncos, Patriots, the biggest liability here with the bets that you have of someone picking a Super Bowl winner back in August.
Yeah, our liability right now exists on the Rams only. We're in good shape on the other teams. And right now we have Seattle, the +140 favorite, Rams +225, New England +280, and Denver's up to +1350, which obviously the Stidham effect, because it would have been less than 10-1 had Nix been in the game. But right now we just are looking to evade the Rams at this point. A lot of public support throughout the season on the Rams.
Jeff Sherman is our guest. I was thinking about you when I was on last night, and finally the Knick fans booed Mike Brown. Imagine that. Mike Brown has been fired how many times, gets the Knick job. Since the NBA Cup, I think they've lost 9 of 12. He's getting booed at the Garden. So I said, I got to ask Jeff Sherman, what's going on with NBA odds here? Because the Lakers weren't playing well. Jimmy Butler now gone for the year with his knee injury, and the Knicks really going into the tank. What can you tell us about the NBA?
Yeah, I remember talking to you about Mike Brown before the season when that happened. We were both thought that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. So they're out to 16-1 now, the Knicks. They were just 12-1. I bumped them from 12 to 16 yesterday. So they're right in the mix now with the other teams in the East caught up to them. Detroit, Boston, each 16-1. But the one thing we keep seeing is Oklahoma City. And they went into Cleveland and blew out Cleveland yesterday. And they did the same thing last week at Houston. So even though they've had some losses recently, they get up for the games they're supposed to get up for, the good teams, and there's still a wide separation. So Oak City, even money. Denver still sitting at 13-2 because they've got improved play from Peyton Watson. They found some bench play but when Jokic returns. So they're down low. San Antonio has dropped to 10-1 now. They're the third team. And after that, then you start getting into the higher teams.
Future odds in hockey for the Vegas Golden Knights. Send out White Cloud, make a big trade. You never know how healthy they're going to be. It seems like a team going to peak during the playoffs here, but a star-studded lineup.
Yeah, we did make an adjustment from the trade for Rasmus Anderson yesterday. Knights went from 10-1 down to 7-1. So right there with Carolina at 7, the fourth choice.
7-1. VGK, that's a big line movement. And finally, one of your many expertise, golf. You can follow Jeff Sherman at Golf Odds. Scotty Scheffler coming back. And interesting to see if he hits the ground running fast and if he's peaking, and clearly with the Masters coming up in April. So talk to me about Scheffler coming back in the upcoming tournaments here.
Yeah, he played last month at the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. He finished fourth, so subpar for him. He's a 3-1 favorite, wide separation. Some of the golfers that played last week, Ben Griffin, Russell Henley, are 20-1. So a very large favorite for Scheffler, like we've seen, and it's just Tiger-like numbers at this point. And you see his number dropping for the Masters. He tops at 7-2. I'm down to 3-1 for the Masters. So a lot of Scheffler love before the season's even started.
Thank you, Jeff. Great work as always. We'll talk to you and set the Super Bowl odds next week. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, JT.
That's Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate, the VP of Risk Management. You want a cool place to hang out for the Super Bowl or championship week, you go to the Westgate. You see people with suitcases of cash making big bets. Incredible. They do a great job over there. 702-365-9200 if you want to get through. That was a damn good hour. That hour, the monologue, Sam Monson, Jeff Sherman, doing what we think we do best. Joe in Brooklyn. Joe, we get you up here. Go ahead.
What's up, JT?
Hey, Joe.
Big time Mendoza fan. I think he played consistent, wise, not great, but listen, he's got a fast release, knows how to read a defense, and play smart ball. The more important thing, we need a coach. I think it has to be Webb. McDonald's handprint is all over Seattle, which, he's the coach. Kubiak scares me a little bit. You could just tell that's McDonald's team. Give me a young Webb that has learned under Peyton. Peyton really, really wanted this guy. Didn't let him leave the airport when he hired him. Was going to leave. Said, no, you're not leaving. Learned it under Peyton. Knows how to draw up a play. The talk of Kubiak not being able to control a locker, and I'm not a coach. I'm not a talent evaluator, but that scares me. I'd rather go with a young guy like Webb and grow with Mendoza.
All right, appreciate it. Then you're taking probably the biggest risk of all of it. If they get Webb, we'll welcome them, and we'll get behind them as we always do. But you're looking to hire a guy with no experience as a head coach, none, and limited underneath a coordinator. So that is really risky. But if he's the guy, I think he's on the short list. I think he's one of the 2 or 3, probably. Every day that the Raiders wait, and they need to wait because they're trying to vet all these coaches, is another day where you could lose the guy you want. That's all I've been telling you the first hour. Whoever they're going to take as the coach, I'm going to get behind, and I'm going to be excited about the future. But clock is ticking. Chris Myers from the NFL on Fox in hour number 2. All right. We'll keep this going for another mini monologue. I'm probably going to go for about another 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll bail and do that. So stick around.
Yes. Las Vegas, February 28th, Legion Stadium. Vibes, epic fix. Using now at nrl.com/Vegas. Las Vegas
is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. Raider Nation, it's JT. I partnered with Charles Woodson and his Woodson Whiskey. It's the official bourbon whiskey, the Black Hole, and the Las Vegas Raiders. If it wasn't your game day whiskey, it is now. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast to the silver and black. The limited edition Black Hole bottles now available at woodsonwhiskey.com. Use the promo code JTTheBrick at checkout for 15% off. That's woodsonwhiskey.com, the official whiskey of Raider Nation. Please celebrate responsibly.
You know, Josh, workers' compensation is such a nightmare to navigate on your own. That's right. Workers' comp is workers' complicated. Exactly. You should never try to get work comp without us. No one knows workers' compensation like we do. The Richard Harris Law Firm.
Hey, Raider Nation, Vince Sapienza here with the morning tailgate. Who says the season's done? NFL playoffs are here, and General Admission Las Vegas has a pretty sweet deal just for you. Anytime you show up during a playoff game and mention Vince, Raider Nation Radio, or the morning tailgate, you get a free dessert from the table just like that. So make sure you turn the postseason into the most season at General Admission Las Vegas.
Yeah, we'll go through that sound. We'll go through that sound. How long is Myers? 16.
Yeah.
30.
Okay. All right, that works. That works. Let's look at the chat. Let's spend some time in the chat here. How we doing, chat? What do we got? We got 646 in here, a little combo of Facebook, Twitter, where I think we have the most, and YouTube.
Right. From water heater installations to tuning up your AC and heater, don't just call anyone. Call the boss.
Is Joe in Brooklyn still there? Oh, no, we took Joe. Mike in Staten, Italy. Okay.
Really sucks. Terrible boss, and the paycheck is even worse. Gotta get.
Falcons did Raheem Morris dirty. You could say that. They didn't do him as dirty as Buffalo did Sean McDermott, I can tell you that.
My brother got his scale license. Now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Sure.
The best Raider head coaches in history were not head coaches before they were named. Sure. You're right. Gruden and Madden. Yeah, Madden at the top of the list. Yeah.
You're moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative.
The problem with me, I'm not scorned. I'm not a scorned guy. I do my job. I like my job. That I've been dealing with so many Raider fans that bitch and moan about any coach we hire. They bitched and moaned about Pete Carroll. We're going to get negative feedback no matter who gets hired, which is unfortunate. I'm a guy who gets in line behind the leadership. You hire a coach, I get behind him. You pick a quarterback, you think I love Geno Smith and Jimmy Garoppolo, then you don't know me. I got behind those guys because I have a job and I'm loyal. If you have a job, you get behind the people you work with, or you get fired or you quit. I don't want to quit and I don't want to get fired. So I'm going to get behind the coach, and the quarterback's easy. Getting behind Mendoza, that's pretty easy. You'd be pretty stupid not to get behind Mendoza. But the coach, it's easy to get behind Sean McDermott, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh. Easy to get behind those guys.
Bricks. Obviously it means a lot to me being a part of the Silver and Black alone. The history, said it a million times. I feel like I was meant to be a Raider. I love being here.
Your Silver and Black home to Sound Off for over 25 years.
It's amazing, opportunity, great community here, and great fan base. So I'm expecting a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of great times.
It's going to be all about competition. It's going to be no easy game starting. And from here's to see the bread.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the show, brought to you by La Casa. La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village. Go see Mike. Go have a cigar with Mike and the live music. You see the weather lately? My God. You can go to La Casa and you can sit outside and smoke a cigar and have a Tito's, a Woodson bourbon whiskey, a Modelo, Remy Martin, sip like sports royalty. La Casa, great place to go, have a cigar, go see Mike. He's a proud partner of our show. You better believe we want you to go there. All of our partnerships. Mike's a friend. Go support La Casa Cigars, Tivoli Village. Easy to park. Parking is free. You can sit outside. You can sit inside. You can watch sports. You can do it all. So a big night last night. Fernando Mendoza played good enough to win the national championship, and everything should be good today in Raider Nation. There has been a lot of bickering. There's been a lot of anger. There's been a lot of people just mad at everything that has to do with the Raiders. And I understand why. The product has not been any good. The product has not been entertaining. How would I know? I sit in the tickets. I pay for season tickets. I sit in 132. I'm there. And I don't see fun. And I don't see completions. And I don't see big plays. I don't see anything. It's very, 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 very basic football that's not entertaining. So I'd like to see some better football. Would you agree? So if you agree with me, get behind the opportunity the Raiders have with Mendoza, Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty to have more of an exciting time. Last year at this time, or whenever we got Geno, I don't know when we got Geno, I sat here, Clay, and said, and I don't hold it back, I don't take it back. Everything that I say, I don't take back. We were going to break the huddle in preseason. I called the games play-by-play as Jason Horowitz went to TV. We were going to break the huddle with Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Ashton Genty, Trey Tucker. Mm-hmm. And I said then, I go, that's pretty good. I mean, that's going to be pretty good. If we go 4 wide and we get the ball out and we throw some screens to Genty or hit Bowers, and then Michael Mayer runs a crossing route and we catch it. I thought that was pretty good because Geno threw for 4,300 yards, Clay, and 70%. Last year, our offense was one of the worst offenses, I think the worst in Raider history for expectations. And we put out that product, and every time we watched the team play at home or on the road, it was a disaster. They couldn't run a play.
You figure even with those skill players, those are proven commodities that can get the job done with a proven commodity quarterback. So why should our expectations be any less than, hey, let's be a little bit above average than what we were with Minshew and O'Connell?
We had Chip Kelly. Like him or not, Chip Kelly knows what the hell he's doing. Friend of the show, Greg Olson. Greg Olson knows what he's doing. The reason it didn't work is we couldn't block anybody. Everybody knows this. Every GM of every team in football knows the Raiders can't block anybody up front. You think that changes a game? Changes it completely. So they will go buy a new offensive line in the offseason. I'm not even addressing it. You don't even hear me talk about it much. I'm not going to overbeat the Mendoza drum. I think the Mendoza deal looks pretty good. But the offensive line, you're not hearing me talk about draft offensive linemen and develop them. Lincoln Kennedy and I'll punch a wall. I mean, they could draft a high offensive lineman. I hope they do. But we're not setting our goal like we got to draft a new offensive line. Are you kidding me? Developmental players? No, we got to go buy an offensive lineman or two. We have the money to do it. So we're going to get 2 new offensive linemen. And then we're going to have a new quarterback who's going to start. We're not going to we can't park him. Sorry, everybody. If we do get Mendoza, he's got to play because all number 1 picks play. Okay, if you get picked 17th in the first round, you can sit. If you're Jackson Dart, you can sit. We're going to play Mendoza. And then, the defense, I thought the defense is okay. It's not great. It's okay, but I don't think the soft cover 2 zone works much anymore in this league. Pete Carroll wanted his 3 high style to work. He wanted to rebuild the Legion of Boom. You can't rebuild the Legion of Boom with Caillou, Blue Kelly, and Darian Porter. Sorry. You can't become the Legion of Boom with Darian Porter and Caillou. They're good players. They're not the Legion of Boom. LOB. They're not. So we got to get some players on this team. Got to go get some players. So it's the offensive line, free agency, and draft well. That's what we got to do to start. Open lines for you on Mendoza. I want to get to Mendoza this hour. You have no more study time. I'm done with anybody. Anybody who calls me from here on out better have an opinion on Mendoza. He played his last game. He's not playing in some Senior Bowl. He's done. He's out. He's not playing in the Reese's. He's not playing in some bowl, and he's not going to run for you at the combine. You saw Mendoza. You got to have an opinion on Mendoza. Mike in Staten, Italy. Mikey, how'd you bet on the game? Did you win any money?
JT, I told you I had before the tournament started on your radio. I gave you the Miami Hurricane. So I rode them. Unfortunately, I broke even. I took half the money on the money line and half the money plus. I got +8. It was a great game. Great defensive back play to step in on Beck. I think Beck is a quarterback that you're going to see play on Sunday. But let's not get into that. JT, there's one offensive lineman. I know you don't want to get into it, but Tyler Linderbaum for Mendoza, he'll call the offensive set. He's young. He's 5 years old. If he gets the free agency, if the Ravens don't re-up him, he's the guy with Colton Miller to anchor the line. But Mendoza showed you everything you want in a quarterback with that quarterback draw, that he left everything on the line. And JT, I don't know if it's an act or what, but he seems to be one of the most humble human beings I've ever met, which might be perfect for the Las Vegas community. Because it's tough when you get a 20-year-old from Alabama and you make him multimillionaire and put him in the heart of Las Vegas. He looks like, to me, on the outside, I think he has the vision. I think he has just enough maneuverability inside the pocket. I think, you got to start him from day one. But I'm going to go up against, I just want to give you my AFC, NFC team. Jeff Hostetler stepped in for Phil Simms. And I'm not saying the Denver Broncos have the Giants defense, but they're not that far off. They're going to take the air out of the ball. I think Sitton could control it with the running backs. I think, I'm going the under, the whole, everybody and their brothers going the under. I'm going to go the opposite of public. I'm going to take the Denver. I'm going to tease Denver and the over. For that, I think, between Nick Foles and Hostetler, there is a little bit of way for that. Then I don't think anybody's beaten Seattle except themselves. If Darnold sees ghosts again. Other than that, you're going to see a Seattle-Denver Super Bowl, and we'll go from there, Jay.
Mikey, last one, because they had the John Harbaugh presser. I was able to watch some of it live. It was epic. How bad did the Jets want Mendoza? You're on the ground, retired detective. You're in the building. You go season tickets to the Jets. Take the temperature for me. How bad did the Jets want Mendoza?
Well, I'll tell you how bad we want him, JT. The New York Post had a big article saying that the Ravens were going to trade Lamar Jackson for Mendoza. Yeah, we shot ourselves in the foot. Our punter made a tackle that stopped us from getting Lawrence. The jury's still out on him. Now, especially this guy Moore goes back in. There's not another. The quarterback from Alabama is not a high first-round pick. We trade out of that pick. We get a veteran, Kyler Murray. We sign Willis if he doesn't want to go to Miami. We're a dollar short, but we have something you guys don't have, JT. The Jets have an unbelievable young offensive line. They played every snap. You nailed it right. You don't want any prospect in second, third round. You got to go out there and get two of the best offensive free agents. But yeah, the Jets are a dollar short. But I'm still paying 7% more for my tickets, Jake.
Thank you, Mikey. Take care. Good to hear Mikey in Staten, Italy. The Raiders have announced that they have completed their second interview with Chargers DC defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, who reportedly is high up in character and his ability with some of the Raider ownership brass. This is a name to keep an eye on. I'm not telling you to keep an eye on every name. I'm not saying keep an eye on every name, because a lot of Raider fans want to get it right with an offensive head coach, play caller, including me. But Jesse Minter is a very good candidate, young, checks a lot of the boxes there. But, Raiders are going to have second interviews with a lot of candidates, or a few of them, that are going to be in that second call category, who have got to be a backup plan if the Raiders don't get their first choice. Here is Shields Up in Connecticut on the Raiders mobile app.
Thanks for taking my call, JT. Excuse my voice. I'm under one. Question to follow up with the offensive line. I'll be really ask you a question. What's the two positions? I know we need a center. What's the other position on the line that you think we need to upgrade? Thanks for taking the call.
I think we need a starting elite tackle, right tackle for DJ Glaze. I would not put DJ Glaze out there as the starter. I think he can play. As Clay said it before me, Clay said swing tackle. I say the same thing, kind of like in the Thayer Mumford category and some of the other players that we've had there. Guard, if we're going to stick with Jackson Powers Johnson at guard, then we have to get a center. We don't have a center on the roster. Are you kidding me? We're not doing a Jordan Meredith and Alex Kappa move at center with Mendoza. Are you nuts? That can't happen. We got to get a free agent center or take the medicine and get Jackson Powers Johnson in at center. The Remington Award winner with the Heisman Trophy winner, Clay Baker. Now, if they don't believe, and there were people in the building that did not believe Jackson Powers Johnson could play center. He could play it, but they didn't buy the hype, and they are no longer going to be there. What happens now with the reevaluation of the new coaches in regards to JPJ at center?
Yeah, maybe he has to go and compete for a job, but I'd have to think that all the reports were correct on his evaluation to be a starting center in the NFL, and maybe this also pushes a button at him personally to make sure he wins that job.
I don't see how Jackson Powers Johnson needs to compete for anything. I really don't. Then we really screwed up that pick. If we screwed that pick up that badly that he's got to go into camp and compete, I don't mind the competition Pete Carroll thing. I was good with that. I was fine. I mean, every week I talked to Coach. Every week I sat down with him and he talked about competition. Why aren't they playing, Coach? Because they're not winning in practice in competition. Okay with that? Then at the end of the year, you heard me pivot with them. The new players got to play because you can't tell me that the practice is so bad that they're not competing well in practice, and then they can't play a little bit. And then they started playing a little bit. In week 5, I wasn't going to tell Pete Carroll to bring up the competition thing because he wasn't going to move on that topic. Pete Carroll's not going to move on why he wants to compete. We're going to have someone new in now. The new guy can come in here and go, yeah, competition's obvious, but I got my guys. They're going to play. We're not going to have this mental gymnastics of trying to figure out who's having a better day at practice. And I love Pete Carroll. I'll never say a bad thing about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's unbelievable. Great coach, great legacy. He came, he gave everything he had. He wanted to win. It didn't work. It's easy. I'll be able to say that my whole life. But I hope we don't come through a scenario this upcoming season where we're scratching our head going, I'm looking at Vinny or this guy at practice and we're going, oh, who do you think? Who's going to win that job? Are you kidding me? Like, let's get some guys in here who win the job in August. They're the guy. We're not talking about competing with them in October. They got to win the job in August and be done. And God forbid they get hurt. We need someone else who can come in and play. I mean, this offensive line thing on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 12. We didn't have this problem. Steve Wisniewski, Arch, list. Get guys to play offensive line for Lincoln Kennedy could look at and say, oh, yeah, he's good. Oh, he's really good. Leave him alone. Talked to Lincoln every day last year. Lincoln went in come on. Let's get offensive linemen who we know on Wikipedia where they played, what year they went to the Pro Bowl. We'll overpay them a little bit and bring them in. Tom Brady played with.
Saw Mendoza take a hit, get a little bloody, and come back.
Yeah.
We need Raider dudes. We need that kind of mentality. We need a dude that will take a hit and come back. I love looking at his arm after, as long as he wasn't hurt. When the lady showed his arm, if you watch the interview after, it was all, he said, I did that for my team. And he did that for his team for sure. Because he had the first down, but he wanted to get in that end zone to make sure they got that touch.
Yeah.
We need that from top to bottom. Not Max Crosby. That's all we have like that on our team right now. We need that everywhere. We need that on offense. We need that defense. We need that on special teams. We need that in the coaching. Yes, I know our line's not ready yet for Mendoza. When is it going to be if we're drafting number 1 in the top? But get the quarterback and then go out there. If you can overpay a little bit here and there, go ahead and do it. But get that line fixed. Draft a couple of young offensive linemen because we have a couple of young offensive linemen who will start growing together. Let's get it together. This is the opportunity for us to turn this team around for decades.
Yes.
For really though, I mean, I know I'm always positive in the line, but this is really our opportunity to start that. The coaching staff, we need to have a coach that's going to be here for a decade plus and a whole system that comes around. And don't bring one of these guys who's just set in their ways. Like we need versatility in coaching, and go out there and interview as many people as you have to. Make sure you do the right thing. I personally want young, offensive-minded. I want excitement and scoring. Yep. I'm rooting for it. Let's go, baby.
Thank you, Thor. I agree. I like the young play caller. There's a few of them left. They'll start getting picked apart in the next couple of days. That's what I said in the original monologue. If you missed it, you can stream it. Go back to my YouTube channel, JT the Brick YT. Stevie G in Oakland, Oaktown. Hello, Stevie.
What's happening, JT? Hey, I'm very happy and excited about Mendoza, and I think the Raiders are actually the perfect ground for this kid. First off, he carries the number 15. I believe that's Tom Flory's number. But we've also had Plunkett, who's been that number one overall guy, and things didn't quite work for him in the beginning when he did get beat up without a line and all these issues. Well, we know that. As an organization, we understand that. We know that. I believe we're going to bring him in. I like the fact that Spy Tech is already here. He's now had a year with the organization, and he now knows what needs to be done. What I'm hoping is that the free agent offensive lineman they sign first is a center, because we need that experienced center to go with this rookie. All right? We don't want to put everything on his shoulders. We want to build him up and grow.
Good point.
And I think a center is that one that we get that has the experience. Then if we can fill in with the tackle, I would love to be able to do that. And then let's see what we can do to fortify that line around this kid. And I want the young offensive genius mind in there. But again, I still believe in that defense philosophy. But the most important thing is that there's a pairing between that offense and defense. Now, listen, obviously, Ben, the Chicago coach, he had a great year, a fantastic year. But here's the thing, what I don't like. He was going for fourth down.
Yeah.
So many times he could have just kicked field goals. And believe me, that would have won the game based on the way they played the rest of the year. I just think that you have to have that complementary play against the offense and defense. That's why I like the fact that Brady is already there. Spy Tech's already there. They just need to find that coach that fits. They're looking, they're finding them, and I think it's going to work. We got the young guy. That's it, JT.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good one.
Appreciate everybody who listens to the show, all of our proud partners. I've been telling you about Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men, the men's spa. If you want to rejuvenate your hair, a lot of guys, you need some help with your hair. If it's not growing anymore, you got some spots you want to have worked on, they'll help you. Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men on Sahara, right in the Village Square. Fantastic. You can get the hydrofacial. If you want weight loss, they have everything for you. I'm not telling you where you have to go, what plan you have to have, but they have it all for you. It's Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men. I go there. Friends go there. It's a men's spa. You'll love it. In and out and get the treatment that you might want to refresh yourself going forward into the new year. When we come back, Chris Myers in his weekly spot. Everything got moved a little bit because of Martin Luther King Day yesterday. We were off. I wasn't off at night. I'm on the air again tonight. So I'm excited about that. And then we'll find out more about the coaching carousel. Chris Myers wanted to talk about Sean McDermott and what happened in Buffalo. We'll get to that thanks to the Bricklayers right here on Raider Nation Radio. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Mad Dog Sports Radio tonight, 8 to 11. That's right, 11 p.m. Eastern, but I'm not up at 11. It's 8 to 11 Pacific. Sirius XM Channel 82. Please hit like on the way out, and please subscribe. Thank you so much. Thanks to Clay.